everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be playing Oceanhorn 2, aka a knockoff Breath of the Wild, because the main character, I don't even know his name, looks quite like Link. An observation brought to you by my friend. Anyways, let's get started. So I started off on my Mac and I had to use my keyboard and trackpad, and it was a challenge. I do not recommend trackpad gaming. It was doable, but I definitely had a lot of trouble with like the controls and looking around, as well as some of the controls for this game were just awkward in my opinion. I didn't appreciate that I couldn't jump on my own. I had to it would just jump automatically for me, which is a little trippy to me sometimes, because going from my normal games where you usually have to control every single movement that you can do, and from the last episode, Gris, which you can watch here in the little corner, but where in that game you have to control every single jump, you have to time them, you have to be very intentional. With this game, it's just like a pray it figures it out for you, and I don't really like that. But overall, I found the experience on my computer to be just fine. My computer did get a little hot, but that's kind of to be expected. I ended up going back when I had a controller and playing the game again, or picking up from where I left off, and it was so much better, unbelievably better. The controls were not what I would consider standard though, but it just might be me getting confused and wishing that the games had more of a standard controls all around. But yeah, so for the iPhone, it was a perfectly fine experience. In some ways, I found the touch actually easier than the keyboard and mouse, and mainly, looking around, it was more intuitive that way. However, I found myself also really being messed up by the placement of the buttons, and it was a bit tricky to get that all sorted, and in between having to dodge and the evade were not, in my opinion, very intuitive. If I'm remembering correctly, you have to swipe to evade, which is just weird, and the button is to interact, so it just wasn't exactly very intuitive in that sense. In terms of visibility for what you can see, again, phone is just not the way to go. It is hard to see, and it's not very fun to play on in terms of size. It is more comfortable than, say, the iPad, simply because it's able to be handheld, but it's not ideal, especially when you're having to read text and stuff. But it is totally doable, and overall the translation from keyboard to touch, in my opinion, wasn't bad, and the save went perfectly fine. It did go over. Moving on to the iPad. So for the iPad, it was much easier to see, which I think is going to be a common theme throughout all of this. And I found the controls again to be very janky, because again, it's touch. And I found myself wanting to, or not being able to look around easily, because my finger kept hitting the action button or interact button, and that got annoying pretty fast, as you could probably imagine. So that's that. Overall, I found the game to be pretty fun, and the translation from keyboard, mouse, and across devices was fine. Going from the computer to iPhone was good. Going from iPhone to iPad, good. Going from iPad to iPhone, good. And then going from that to computer actually did not update my like amount of time. They're like, it did not pick up in the right spot. Why? I have no idea, but it did have trouble doing that. The reason I have so many different, like, it went to this, to that, to that, to this, is because I actually kind of like the game, and I found it fun for the most part. Annoying, but fun. And with that, I will see you next time. Bye.
Yeah, hey. 'Cause I can't write, I can't learn my lesson. I can't write, take antidepressants. Illness and welfare on my adolescence. My friends.